The Aquant project basically integrates two different levels of modeling, of cutting-edge models and technology. On one side, to provide a robust, reliable modeling of water supply or depletion because of, for example, climate conditions. On the other side, it is aimed at modeling the water demand for irrigation that could depend, for example, on the behavior of different crops. And so it is something that is very site-specific, whereas the part of water supply is very general because it includes the whole groundwater or surface water bodies, and so the main targets of this part of the project will be the managers of the freshwater resources.
Many of the decision makers or managers are taking decisions with only one part of the information. What we want to do is interoperability, to share this information so that they take decisions, share with the others, but with a more complete picture. We need to manage water so that everyone is getting the right amount, and water is running out because population growth, we know that, climate change, but also misuse of these resources. And something I really care about is the ecosystems. We often forget even the nature is giving us back services that we depend on.
It's very important to have projects such as Quant and other projects that accounts for water, at least on different levels. In the case of Lebanon, government all the time, water managerials all the time says that we need data from the ground, and we are data short. So this is an opportunity for Lebanon to gather data from the ground on a higher level of accuracy, higher level of development. But the project will not stop at this point. The project will start putting these data, but at the same time is building models.
The really important part are the models that can provide information to the farmer of how much water they can use, or information to the water manager on how they can plan the usage of resources. And if they understand that they need to cut water, for instance, they could start now and cut just in a small amount of hours instead of waiting next year and then leaving people without water.
Jordan is the second country in the world in the boost of water resources, and we have shortage in water. Then our resources is very limited. With the account, maybe we can help the farmer to apply water at real time, and the losses of water maybe decrease because we apply water according to the crop water requirements.
I think that Aquant is able to demonstrate the capabilities of the IoT paradigm using sensors and installing them, then collecting the data through gateways or directly through the cloud in an interoperable way. That's also one other challenge of the project, that we will use a common platform with a common data layer that could allow to indeed after the project to other companies or other farmers to use it and integrate the data, and then enrich indeed maybe the final dashboard that could be presented to the farmers or to the river basin managers.
The challenge is to translate all the knowledge, the scientific knowledge that we have, into some simple recommendations and inputs for the farmers and for the water managers, because they really want to know what is the best strategies to be pursued, but also they should understand that this is a benefit for them, so we should take into account their needs, but also their knowledge base. And so we needed to also work to really involve them inside the entire process of the project.
there is a recognized gap between the findings of science and the applied solutions that technical interventions provide in the field with the policy-making decisions. And this is a field that Aquanaut tries to cover. So in the project, interventions start in a field, in an arid country, and they should go up to a meeting room where decision makers will be drawing policies. In between, there is a need for stakeholders to get engaged, to express their opinions, their views, and collectively co-design the solutions of the future that will get into the policymakers in order to provide the needed elements that will take us into a common future.
The digitalization of the water sector is considered as strategic steps to in attaining the integrated water resource management, as it holds the potential to improve or to affect in positive way the multiple dimensions of water management, such as water accounting, governance, and implementation of possible new policy or directives. In fact, we already selected 8 farmers to implement the innovative tools such as the sensor and the farm leaf to monitor the irrigation skilling and to provide to the farmer information optimal irrigation and to display them seasonal projection of water availability in order to allow them to take actions to preserve the yield and also to reduce the water demand in case of the water is sufficient.
In the European market, and there is a strategy and a roadmap in the EU for climate services, and our tool is an incredible example of what we can place in the market. And there is a growing market for data, for information, for tools, but the most important point is demonstrating the value of these tools. We would like to demonstrate the value of our service through a cost-benefit analysis for farmers and at the basin level, but we would like also to prove the value of the service in a longer term with the climate projections to better planning how to manage the water source. And it is challenging because at some point we have to deal with the stakeholders and the end users, and sometimes they have no idea of what that can happen in the future. So sometimes we have to build some what-if scenarios, and it could be a challenge, and it could be very interesting to co-design with them this aspect.
We're aware of the variability that we will find and of the challenges that we will find, so we did put together quite a multidisciplinary team. So we have the ICT people, 2 very important groups. We have people that really know these pilot sites very well, and we have other people, other partners that know very well the Mediterranean context in which they're doing. And of course we have a group that knows the models, the physical and biological models, how the socioeconomic part works, and climate change. So we put them all together to be able to tackle this entire system.